Thank you. Good night, good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. Welcome to the séance ordinaire du conseil municipal de la ville de Westmount pour le 6 mardi, septembre 2022. I think we're going to begin with, we have several council reports tonight. So I'm going to begin with a few updates on my end. And we don't have, Councillor Aronson is not here with us tonight. I think he might be with us on Zoom, but he is in the age of COVID. He is at home today. So a couple updates and some things that are going on around in the city. And I think everybody has realized the city is quite full and schools are back and traffic is abundant and life has resumed a little bit from the summer break. So we would just stress to please be careful as you drive, especially in school districts. We're home to 13 schools in this tiny little city, and there's traffic around each and every one of them. And I know a lot of schools last year began programs where they would meet in different areas, like they would meet at a park like Murray Hill or Westmount Park, and they would walk to school in groups from there. So we hope that they'll be initiating some of those practices again. There's a couple of big events coming up. In particular, this year is the 150th anniversary of Westmount High School. So there'll be celebrations all throughout the year for that. As well, in a couple of weeks, I'll be attending, and I think some of my colleagues are attending as well, the 100th anniversary of the Shar, which is an exciting and an incredibly important synagogue in our community. And I believe that the Westmount Municipal Association, I haven't had it officially confirmed, but I believe they're having a candidates debate for the provincial candidates on the 21st of September. That may be in your reports, Madame Roux. Yeah, so I think that is on the 21st of September, and that will take place in Victoria Hall, where they will host all the candidates. And so you see the signs all over the city, and I would just applaud all those who have put their name forward. It's a brave task to put your name on a ballot. So, and I hope that in this era where people don't have family doctors and kids don't have school buses to ride on, that everybody goes out and votes in the provincial election. One particular thing that I did want to update on is that there has been some media recently on the Good House, as it's known. I like to call it 178 Côte Saint Antoine. That was published last week in Le Devoir. And we've published something that you can find on our different social media platforms as well as our website. But I just wanted to share some information on that because it was an article that was very discouraging because it was factually incorrect. And it did not, certainly didn't take into account information from the owner of the house or from the city. We shared they had our bylaw, but beyond that, there seemed to be little understanding of the amount of work and the extent of the work that has gone into the preservation of this house. So in response to an article published in Le Devoir on September 2nd entitled Aucun intérieur historique n'est protégé par les municipalités, no historic interior is protected by the municipalities, the City of Westmount wishes to clarify and remind the public of certain elements regarding what is known as the Good House, 178 Côte Saint Antoine. As far as the interior of the building is concerned, no demolition permit has been requested or issued by the City of Westmount. The permit application that has been authorized is for the exterior of the building and is limited to the dismantling of 0.5% of the supporting masonry. The project behind this demolition request is to expand downward 3 existing openings on the rear facade to connect the main building with a proposed addition. It is important to note that these changes to the openings will not be visible from the exterior as they will be integrated into the addition at the rear of the building. All buildings in Westmount are categorized to determine their level of heritage value and the degree of protection afforded them. As a building of exceptional value, the Good House falls into category 1 star, a category where possible interventions are most limited. The City of Westmount has a very restrictive demolition bylaw. For example, an enlargement of a building opening by only 15 centimeters downwards requires a demolition permit involving the same process as a demolition application for the entire building. The Good House Municipal Citation Bylaw recognized 6 character-defining elements that convey the heritage value of the interiors: the staircase to the upper floor, the interior doors and shutters, the woodwork and plasterwork, the fireplaces, the softwood floors, and the radiator covers. All of these elements will be restored, with the exception of the staircase, which will be rehabilitated in the spirit of the original design to comply with safety requirements of the Quebec Construction Code. This project is the result of 3 years of administrative preparation and 2 years of collaboration between the city and the current owners. It is also the result of a rigorous democratic process during which Municipal Council unanimously rendered 3 favorable decisions that approved minimal interventions to the original building and grounds. This project allows for both the conservation of this heritage building and its rehabilitation as a living environment for a new family who will have restored it while respecting the heritage value of the community. And I just, on that note, it's very disheartening to see shared with me, and I think with many members of council, comments on different social media sites, in particular Facebook, where there is so much misinformation on this. And I would also note this family has worked incredibly hard with the city to get this permit, but also to restore this house. And it's a private home. It's their private home. And I know that this has been a really difficult process of having people comment on something, and the people who have commented on it, not one of those comments, I don't think of those people has actually been in the house, has actually seen the state of the house, has seen the state of the ground. So that's what's so discouraging. And I guess I've just, for the owners that have worked so hard and are so committed to this project, I can't imagine how discouraging it was to read that article, but I just wanted to make sure that all the facts were out there. So I will hand it over. I think we'll start at this end with Councillor Kez, who wants to do some public security updates.
Thank you. As mentioned by the mayor, we have 13 schools on our territory. So more than ever, school safety, back to school safety reminders are important to take note of. At this time of year especially, vigilance on the road is more important than ever. I would like to remind drivers to slow down, respect flashing school bus lights, watch for students crossing the streets, and please park responsibly. Public safety officers will be patrolling school drop-off areas during morning peak traffic times to ensure the children are safe. On a special note, I'm wishing all students a happy and safe back to school period. Regarding our dog walkers in Summit Woods, the dogs need to be on leash from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is ongoing, and they can be off leash after that time. And as of November 1st, they can walk freely from 5 a.m. till midnight off leash. So as of November 1st, dogs can be off leash from 5 a.m. till midnight. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Councillor Gallery.
Merci, Madame Maire. Bonsoir, tout le monde. It's hard to believe it's our first fall meeting, September. I have a few updates tonight. First of all, the pool closed yesterday. It's actually being drained today, or it was drained today. So I just want to thank again our sports and rec staff who had a very successful season. It was full. We had great weather for the most part, and it was well used. And additionally, the lifeguards who keep us all safe and everyone having fun in a responsible manner. They did an outstanding job, and we managed to keep the pool open till the end of our timeline, which was Labor Day, which is somewhat of a challenge as our lifeguards go back to school. Great news for Westmount Park is if you've driven on Sherbrooke and gone by the park, you will see the new equipment is in place. It's still boarded up. We are undergoing final safety tests, and it should be open by the end of the week. So we're all very much looking forward to that. We are also just started last week, phase 2 of the tree maintenance in King George Park. So we will be continuing to cut, to prune, and then we will be planting a significant amount of trees this fall as well. All the information is on the Engage Westmount website. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to check it out or reach out to me. And lastly, tomorrow night is the Westmount semi-annual sports banquet at Victoria Hall, 6 p.m. So if your children or anyone you want to see and cheer on participated in spring sports, please come out. There'll be awards and pizza and lots of fun. And we hope all the parents and volunteers will show up as well. So thank you again. Have a nice evening.
Thanks. And that's just a note on the sports banquet. It is really an opportunity as well to thank the parent volunteers, where that would not, those programs, those sport programs, hockey in the winter, obviously, but soccer in the summer would not happen without those volunteers. Councillor Bostock.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. I'm going to be passing a lot of things for the upcoming snowy weather, so I apologize in advance. That's hopefully not bringing the weather sooner. We have our bulky item pickup, which is happening this week. So please make sure that you check the website to make sure what area is getting done and when. And we want to hear from you. We want to know what you thought of our temporary summer street furniture on Green Avenue, Sherbrooke, and outside of Dawson College. So please go to our Engage Westmount website for details and let us know what you thought, because your opinion is important to us. And as leaves start to fall and you start cleaning up your garden for the fall weather, please make sure that you put your debris in bags and put it on your own property and not on the public domain or on the street. The city is great about picking it up. There's a schedule which is available on the website, but please make sure that you respect those the spaces for that debris. And that's it.
Thank you, Councillor Bostock. Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Madam Maris. So I just wanted to give you a few updates on some of the infrastructure projects that are happening around the territory. We have quite a bit of work underway and quite a bit that's been accomplished to date. So there is the water main rehabilitation project, which is happening in 3 different locations in the city. There's the Arlington project, which is 100% done. There's the Murray Hill project, which is 99% done with a little bit of landscaping work remaining. And on Claremont, the rehabilitation project is up to 95% done. So that means all the water work is complete, but there's still some paving left to be completed. Another large project that's been underway, ongoing again in various locations across the territory, and that's some sewer main cleaning and inspection. That work's being done by TechBack Incorporated, and that's 90% done and on schedule. So most of the on-site work is completed. There's some reports that are due back to us and some video inspections that are due back to us as well. But like I say, it's advancing on schedule. The large reconstruction project, which some of you may be quite familiar with, is the reconstruction at Lexington and Devon Street. It's running on time. The projected date is still October 31st. And some sections are 100% complete. Some of the Hydro Westmount work is up to 85% complete. Some of the bioretention work is up to 90% complete. All in all, it's advancing on schedule. Like I said before, it will be done at the end of October. And the last project is, which has not started yet, it's about to start this week, is on Sydenham, which is a resurfacing project of the asphalt surface. And that's just for the 1 block of Sydenham. And that's a bit of a recap.
Thanks. Very disruptive if you live near the area, but when it's done, you're glad it's done. But infrastructure work is messy while it's going on. Councillor Shami.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I wish to shout out to all our Westmount citizens to look at the vital need to reflect on the kind of political discourse we wish to have in our society, in our community, where we live, here in Westmount, in Montreal, in Quebec, in Canada, and around the world. The type of society we really wish, in light of the unfortunate, dangerous behavior we've seen taken against women in politics, politicians, candidates, men and women who have chosen to serve in public, negative social media, bullying. I ask, how can we attract high-quality women and men into public service when we see these unfortunate aggressive behaviors all around us. Safe, healthy dialogue, respectful dissent is paramount in our democracy. And it starts with us as elected officials here at the municipal level, closest to our citizens here in Westmount. Mayor, I really want us to comment on these recent incidents. We need to speak up to set the tone of political debate. We need to close ranks and stand up against this type of behavior and to make a statement. And each and every one of us can talk to our families, our children, our neighbors, our friends. It's important for us to keep the dialogue open and to make the world a better place.
Thank you, Councillor Shammy. I think we all would wholeheartedly agree. And while I think everybody has some form of shock when they first come into these roles, and you get, whether it's lies spread about you or verbal abuse, but until you're in it, you can't really fathom how hurtful it can be. But in particular, I think the event that you were talking about last week is where a Liberal candidate in the provincial election, Mara Rizki, who I know, who's incredibly dedicated MNA, who has literally been fighting for kids in schools, getting them access to schools as part of her portfolio as a critic. And she's also 8 months pregnant. And to have that happen on the campaign trail is you can see why a lot of women would say, not for me, no thanks. But I do think it's very important for us to stand up in solidarity with that. And it's the little things too, to stand up when it's, before we had to read this about the Good House because there's accusations online that we've done something criminal here, or that there's clearly someone's on the take for this. And it's so disheartening, but we will certainly, I certainly appreciate your comments, and I think everybody does. So thank you. As it's a good reminder. Councillor Roux.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je suis entièrement d'accord avec vos commentaires à tous les deux. Là, je m'en vais dans quelque chose de pas mal plus léger. Alors, un petit rappel, on a un concours très excitant à Westmount qui est la capsule temporelle de Westmount. Alors, cet automne, Westmount dévoilera le contenu d'une capsule temporelle enterrée il y a 100 ans dans l'édifice même où nous nous trouvons en ce moment. Pour perpétuer cette tradition, la Ville a lancé un concours pour déterminer le contenu de la prochaine capsule. Vous pouvez partager ce qui rend Westmount spécial à vos yeux présentement ou imaginer à quoi ressemblera la ville dans 100 ans. La date de tombée approche rapidement, donc le 12 septembre. Les créations soumises seront exposées dans la galerie du Victoria Hall du 28 septembre au 14 octobre et les gagnants seront choisis par vote populaire. Alors, vous pouvez vous procurer les trousses de participation soit au comptoir de référence de la bibliothèque ou au comptoir des événements de Victoria Hall. Also, as of September 18th, the library will be returning to its regular schedule. So from Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And a lot of people will be happy to know that open again on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The TD Summer Reading Club closing party on Saturday, September 17th at 2 p.m. in Victoria Hall. So there will be a magician, prizes, all sorts of good things. Tales and Travel series, the weekly activities for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia is starting again on Tuesday, September 13th. The French Book Club is back at it, the English Book Club, the Teen Book Club. So everything is starting again. There will be a documentary film, on Truth and Reconciliation Week. So Wednesday, September 21st at 7 p.m. There will be a special screening of Elvis 2022 movie. So people got very excited with Greece the other day. I'm sure this one will be just as exciting. So that's on the 24th of September at 6 p.m. There's author events that are starting again. And there's an exhibit, Cecilia Torres, at the gallery. It's beautiful. I went the other day, very interesting. And finally, there's a temporary pause on material donations. The library is unable to accept material donations at this time Due to the continued generosity of Westmount residents and the volume of donations already accepted, they must temporarily pause the donation program at this time. They will inform us when they can resume accepting donations again. Thank you.
Thank you. It's busy over at the library and community and Victoria
Always.
Hall.
I always say we have a
Very busy.
fantastic, well, the whole Westmount team is fantastic, but
Yeah,
they do a
that's
great job.
All back in person, so that's great. Councillor D'Amico.
I wanted to echo the comments of Madam Mayor and Councillor Kez regarding the back to school, especially regards to increased vigilance and patience, especially in District 1 with the construction of Lexington. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think that's it for reports. Has anyone missed anything? No? Okay, we will now move into the first question period, la première période des questions. On a reçu quelques questions en ligne, je pense.
Oui, nous avons reçu des questions en ligne, Madame la mairesse. Deux premières questions d'abord de Madame Maureen Kelly. Question number 1, the website for Quebec's Culture Ministry, répertoire du patrimoine culturel du Québec, shows that while the Maison Good had a status of citation based on the Westmount submission dated November 2, 2020, there is now an additional item of proposition de statut national dated July 28, 2022. This means the provincial government is considering an application to give the Good House a provincial heritage designation. Are the demolition and extensions authorized by Westmount City Council now on hold? If so, do you have any indication of how long the moratorium will be?
Thank you for your question, Dr. Kiley. No, because we're in the process in the 90-day period after the demolition hearing, which runs until October 4th. And that, so we are in that period. We have had a very collaborative approach with the ministry, and they have been on site. They've been to visit the house with, and they themselves had some feedback and reflections, but they should be responding to us. We hope within the next, obviously they have to by October 4th, but we hope within sooner than that. So no, it's not on hold because of that.
Second question from Madame McKelly. The Good House Garden has protected heritage status under bylaws 1552 and 1580. It is not being properly maintained. Under the Cultural Heritage Acts, Articles 136 and 148, the City of Westmount has the power to ensure that the heritage grounds are cared for. What does Council plan to do to ensure that the Good Garden is properly maintained?
I'd say the best way to properly maintain it is have a family living in the house. And they have a very detailed plan for how they are going to restore that garden with some very beautiful aspects to it, like the vegetable garden back in the same place, and obviously the ginkgo tree was a significant part of this, and the protection of that. Do you have anything you want to add to that? Next question.
Question from Monsieur Fred Gervin. Good evening, Madam Mayor Smith. Recently, I had a green bin evaluation grading my work, followed by a survey of temporary public spaces. Since the July 8, 2020 municipal sewer storm drained back up, no information for the cause has been revealed. However, ICR Expert Inc. recently did a verification of the flow rate. ICR provides inspection reports in 5 days or less. Will we soon know about the condition of the system? One closing question, does the city have catch basins to prevent sewer backup? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gervin, for your questions. I hope that you did well on your evaluation of your green bin. And thank you for also filling out the survey on public spaces. That's going to be very important feedback from residents and information that the city can use. As for the other ones, the other question you have about ICR expert and when that information would be available, I will ask the administration to contact you with that information. And your closing question, does the city have catch basins? Yes, to prevent sewer backup. That's more of a technical question, but I don't believe that's the technical role of the Councillor Peart. Do you want to address that? But yes, we have catch basins.
We do indeed have catch basins. I don't believe the role is to prevent sewer backup, but again, that's beyond my technical expertise. So I would leave the administration to answer that specific question. And
you will see each year we pass contracts for the cleaning of the catch basins. So they can follow up with you on that question as well. But thank you for your feedback, Mr. Gerben. Next question.
Another question from Monsieur Denis Biro. Last week, the Independent printed a letter from a resident describing her accessibility problem with our Metro Star. The first objective of the city's 2021 action plan on accessibility was an outreach program to businesses to improve access. This also was listed as a top priority in the 2021 report from the new Westmount Accessibility Committee. However, a recent year-end review concluded that nothing was undertaken in 2021 on this matter. On June 7, I asked for more current update from conseil. The reply I received was a description of the new jungle gym in Prince Albert Park. My question again, what is the status of the city's outreach program to businesses aimed at improving accessibility?
Thank you, Mr. Biro, for your question. I can't remember exactly the wording of your question on June 7th, but I would imagine if you asked about access to Metro, and I responded about I don't think I would have responded about a jungle gym in Prince Albert Park, but it is true that the jungle gym in Prince Albert Park is our only universally accessible playground. So perhaps I was highlighting that, which is a really great park. The city our urban planning team is working with, will work with the commercial sector to address this, but I think you're asking specifically about Metro, which would be on the property of Metro. But I'm not sure if you're asking specifically about that, but there's certainly a lot of work to do. And we hope to do it in collaboration with the commercial sector in terms of accessibility. Next question.
Another question from Madame Sheila Smith. Sound barrier needed. Funny how condos get built, but 30 years and more still no sound barrier. CP Rail has left ties all along the railway for over a week. Entering second week, they are toxic. I've called Westmount and CP, no reply. Can't open windows or go in yards. Please look into this. We are all Westmounters, no matter if up the hill or lower. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback on that, or for your information on that. We will certainly connect with CP. We are in continual contact with the government affairs person there, who is typically pretty responsive when we call. So I will have our office reach out to her tomorrow. Any more questions submitted online?
Last question from Stella Haley. Assessment of all EPA certified stoves proves zero evidence of any emissions reduced in the wood stoves permitted under Westmount bylaw. Clearly, there is an obligation and urgency to take action to prevent the harm and loss of life, as well as the dangers that this wood smoke pollution pushes into the bodies of all citizens, especially children. The website Doctors and Scientists Against Wood Smoke Pollution provides proven factual information. What is Westmount obligated to do to ensure safety and of the public from hazardous wood smoke?
Thank you for your question on this, and I can certainly have the mayor's office send to you by email. I guess we have your contact here, our bylaws that pertain to this. And we have some regulations around the commercial wood burning establishments that use it, like whether it be bagels or pizza, things like that. So I will make sure our office sends you the bylaw on that. Anything else online?
No questions.
Are there any questions in the audience, which I should have asked beforehand? My apologies, because you actually came down here in person and we went to the online ones first. So I do apologize.
Good evening, Council.
You have to state your name.
Yes, I'm just about to.
Okay. Just reminding you haven't been in person in a little while.
My name is Bronwyn Mantell. I live on Bruce Avenue in Ward District Sector 8. I've lost the thread at this point as to the designation of where I live. I have 3 questions tonight to pose regarding something that has been a problem in Westmount for more than 50 years. And my 3 questions derive from the article that was in the Westmount Independent on the 30th of August. My first question, I'm hopeful that you will indulge me with the 3. It has been over 50 years and I've been suffering as well as my other members, other citizens in Ward 8 and in Ward 7. I noticed that Mr. Aronson isn't here. The council has added 15,000 and something to the INK law firm, which has already been paid, I believe 92,000 for the litigation regarding, maybe somebody could tell me exactly the litigation towards MTQ or towards the Turcotte Construction Company that didn't add the sound
MTQ,
barrier?
Yes, the MTQ.
All right. So that is what is happening now. Do we have any resolution, anything that you can tell us about where it is, the status?
We're still in the legal process with it. I know it's been long, but we are still very much of the opinion that we are going to continue to fight this. And I think the article that you're referring to, I can't see it because I don't have my glasses on, but I think it's about was for the sound measurements is the article that you're referring to.
Yes, well, you're adding 15,000 apparently to the 92,000.
Yeah.
Okay, to find out another study on how much the sound is, the decibel level,
Yeah, post-building. I think Councillor Kez wants to weigh in here as well.
Added 15,000 because there's 2 sound measures that were done. The city did its own sound measures with the IMK firm. So we did our sound measures.
Was that the acoustician sound barrier that you promised you would take under in 21?
Correct. That was done a year ago. Now the MTQ did their sound measures. The 15,000 is to verify and go over the sound measures the MTQ made, just so it's an equal playing field. So it's in our interest to go over what they accumulated for sound measures.
Now, can I pose the question, is there any difference between the MTQs and Westmounts?
I don't know. I haven't seen the results. It's in the court case. Nobody's telling me. We don't know.
Next question, and then
yes.
We'll move on.
The next question is the problem that I have with this litigation that you have against the MTQ, or I assumed, I forget the name of the company that was doing the Turcotte change over construction.
And it's the MTQ.
It is the MTQ.
Yeah.
We can refer to it.
It was the KPH Turcotte Consortium or whatever, but it's the MTQ. They build the roads.
Well, the last penultimate session that Madam Semiotis, had as a councillor was a very, very filled meeting because there was a lot of people there regarding the sound barrier as it was in the midst of happening, supposedly. And I posed the question to Madam Semiotis, what is the situation with that? And she got up and admitted that the situation was not very well right now because somebody had forgotten to get the plans to the MTQ for the sound barrier. Didn't know what had happened. it was like a bolt of lightning for me. I said, what? And she said, yes. Somehow
I can't speak to that, but what I can tell you in terms of the evolution of this is that the highway was meant to be lower than it is. And therefore the sound barrier, the berm was supposed to deal with the sound, right? So that changed without us being made aware. And that's led to this fight. And so those changes happened midway and were announced at a meeting, which I'm sure you were probably at, which was a bon voisinage meeting that took place in this room several years ago.
Correct.
I mean, this is going back a few years now.
It goes back a long way, as I said, as I preface this.
But we will have to move on because I think there's other people that want to ask questions.
Please, it's more than 50 years.
I know, so we could stay here for days.
Is if that's the case, what do we have to stand on when IMK says, well, we heard that there was no plans that were given by the councillor that was in charge?
No, the councillor doesn't build the highway.
I understand she doesn't build the highway, Madam Mayor, but the reality, it was her bailiwick that she was taking care of. That this was going
the Councillor Samiotis had no authority over the building of the Turcotte.
No, but she was our liaison. She was our liaison to the MTQ. I realize I can't go up to the MTQ, the construction company, and say you're going to build a sound barrier.
Nor can she. She was a city councillor. It's not her responsibility to ensure that there's the building of the Turcotte. I mean,
in essence, what it is that the council, it's brought to council. Council is where the urgency, they bring it to the administration and the administration deals with the MTQ.
Yes, I understand.
And then another person that is important to deal with the MTQ, which is very important, is to deal with our MNA, who is
who's very actively involved in this file.
Well, efficace than a municipal council.
I'm hopeful because Jacques Chagnon was asked many, many times for radar surveillance and did nothing about it. So you say Madame Macron is much more active on this?
Yes, she's been very engaged and very involved in this.
Yes.
And our issue is that with the change of height in the highway, we warranted a sound barrier. And that is why we are fighting this fight.
But Madam Mayor,
and then we are going to have to move on. There's
you mentioned a berm. There's no berm involved.
I don't want to go back 10 years on this. It was the height of the highway change.
Because I've been living there since 1985, and it's been going on. You know, you heard this woman that posed a problem with the wood that has been placed down there. I mean, aside from what the railroad is doing and has been doing for years and years and years for children's health, for senior citizens, you know, there's a health problem here. It's not just noise. Noise is impossible. Noise has gone up to 95 decibels.
Which is why we're taking this very seriously and pursuing this in the courts.
Right.
So thank you for your feedback. And we're going to move on to the next question.
Yes, feedback, put it in the bag.
Next question.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and the councillors. I have three related questions, if I may. I was very happy to have spoken to Councillor Aronson this week, who gave me an update regarding the glass recycling depot, which I understand is hopefully underway. So my questions are, when I spoke to him, he said they were looking at 3 or 4 different possibilities, but they hadn't narrowed it down to exactly what kind of system and where. So I'd like to know if there's any progress or development on that. And secondly, related to that, when this is hoped to be put in place. I'll wait to an answer on those before I ask the third, if I may.
Do we have any, I'd have to hand it over to the administration. We have any updates on that? We've been discussing a couple of different options and locations and receptacles, essentially. But I don't know if we have any further updates from our environment management team over at Public Works on that. No, but we will, they are working on a couple different options. And I mean, I think the real clincher is where, right?
Is it something that we can hope that would happen this year? Like for actually to be implemented and operational this year?
I don't want to make a promise that I can't keep on that one, but it is certainly all aspects of it are being looked at in terms of where it would go and how we get it to the next, how the delivery happens to the depot.
Okay, thank you. And the third question is, as the city looked into either renegotiating or changing contractor for recycling pickup, right now it's with Ricova, which has had a lot of bad press.
Yeah, but ours is we have a contract with them. They were the lowest conforming bid, so you know how that works with city contracts, and they are for the pickup. So that's we have a contract with them for that, of which I can't remember the date that expires. I believe it's next year. I think we have another year left on that contract till we go out to bid again. But certainly we are following very closely as well in the press the Ricova story. But back to the glass aspect, I just like to thank you. You've brought forward this issue, and you've made some very good points on it that were heard and brought to and discussed with our team that does our waste diversion. And if and when it's up and running, I hope you're the first. I think you should be the first in line to deposit your yogurt containers, because you really have been. You have been very constructive in your feedback on this one. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
And I think
if I could just jump in on that, because I've been privy to a couple of presentations made by the administration on this, and it is directly as a function of you standing up here like you are tonight and pressing upon us the importance and showing other municipalities who have done this. And so that motivated us to request from the administration to do some research. And since that time, we've seen progress, and it has engendered a lot of conversation around the room. So like the mayor says, I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Glad to hear. Thank you.
I think Mr. Leroux would like to make a comment.
Yes, Madam Mayor. In addition of that, I can say that tonight you will take act of the commission minutes of the meeting where this subject was discussed, and it's going to be public during the next few days, so you can see the progress of this file that was discussed at the commission. On the website.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understood, but
we have a commission that dealt with this issue, this CGMBT. I forget some of the acronyms. Even I forget some of the acronyms. But it is where we discussed in detail this project and how it would be, and what it would look like, and how would we transport the glass, and in particular, where would it go? Because we are, a built city, whereas, this is if you have it in, I think Councillor Gallery had brought up that, she's used the one in Knowlton where it's able to be behind the IGA, and we don't have as much space in terms of keeping it away from residents with the noise that goes with it. But that doesn't mean we can't solve that problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
But thank you again.
Bonsoir. Alain Forget, rue Annois. Je m'étais présenté ici au début de l'été. On avait parlé de nouvelles réglementations concernant les souffleuses à feuilles à essence.
Oui.
Quand on s'était parlé, il semblait avoir une ouverture de peut-être les bannir. La prochaine étape, c'est que le conseil allait en discuter. Je voulais savoir, est-ce que le dossier a avancé depuis le début de l'été? Est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose de...
Il y a quelque chose ce soir sur les affaires nouvelles.
Pardon, excusez.
Il y a quelque chose ce soir sur les affaires nouvelles, sur ce sujet.
Ah, d'accord. OK.
Oui. Donc, merci encore à vous.
Hi.
Hi.
And yours, Snow.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I'm Westmount's very own butterfly lady.
And we have something for you tonight as well.
I'm so happy. And I have something for you
All three
too.
of you.
And I have something for you guys too, because like 2 years ago, I started approaching the council about native planting and how important it is. And last year you signed the Monarch Pledge, which was great. But looking at the planters and the beds this year, I feel like it's gone the other way. Like everything is from somewhere else. And In any case, I've had a few webinars with this fellow called Doug Tallamy, and he expresses the importance of what we plant, of everything we plant and don't plant at this point in time on this planet. And I wanted to present these books.
Thank you.
To the council. Can I come forward?
Are they from our library?
No, they're not. I bought them actually on Amazon to kind of, because he expresses it so much better, the importance of it. And I figured if anybody or everybody on the council could read it, I know you have a lot of stuff to do, but it does bring home the importance of it. He's an entomologist. He can really express it a lot better.
Well, thank you. And I will certainly share it with council and we can give them back to you, or if you want, we'll happily give them to the library. But we'll give them back if you...
Jamie Gerbrandt, I've spoken to her about it and stuff. Maybe she'd be interested. But
and I think from those discussions as well, there's been a lot of discussion about the horticultural committee and the input from citizens like you.
That was another thing that I like to say, that I'm always I'm ready to put together teams for. I have volunteers that would do some of the invasive reeds and stuff. I've expressed that to Jamie Gerbrandt as well.
Yeah, so I think you will see an opportunity for more engagement in the coming weeks and months on that. And tonight, later on, you will see that Councillor Roux is going to pass a motion. It's not in Westmount, but it's certainly showing our support for protecting the monarch fields around the Trudeau Airport, because while it's not in Westmount, butterflies obviously don't know the demerged city boundaries. So,
I like to.
But we did make the Monarch Pledge, and so I think that obviously means beyond our boundaries as well. So thank you for your feedback on that, and stay tuned on working with the city on different projects like that you had discussed with Ms. Gerbrandt, and I know she had given me lots of feedback from that you had given. So
okay, great.
Thanks for the books. And Councillor Aronson is watching on Zoom, and he's watching on Zoom because he's not able to be here because one of his kids has COVID. But he just wanted to. He asked that he could weigh in and thank you for the glass questions as well as the leaf blowers and the butterflies tonight. So he's missing his trifecta. But anyways, the answers perhaps were shorter from me, but hopefully just as effective. Are there any other questions before we move into the next part? No? Okay. We will start with the adoption of the agenda. Councillor Chamy.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je propose que l'ordre de jour de la séance ordinaire du Conseil le 6 septembre 2022 soit adopté.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Chamy. Un appuyeur, c'est Madame Bostock.
Excusez-moi, Madame la mairesse, il y avait des points à ajouter à l'ordre du jour.
Oh, wait, je m'excuse, Councillor Chamy, you have to add the new business items to the...
Je m'excuse. I move, Madam Mayor, that the agenda of the regular council sitting of September 6th be adopted with the addition of the following items under new business. 21.1, request to the federal government to recognize the ecological value and the biodiversity of the lands belonging to the federal government, commonly known as Gulf Dorval, including the Monarch Field. 21.2, temporary appointment of the acting director general. 21.3, appointment of the assistant director of Public Works Department. And 21.4, temporary appointment of the acting assistant director, Human Resources Department.
Thank you, Councillor Chamy. A seconder is Councillor Bostock. All in favor? Carried. Item number 5, approbation du procès verbal. Encore, Monsieur Chamy.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Je propose que le procès verbal de la séance ordinaire du Conseil tenue le 15 août 2022 soit approuvé.
Merci beaucoup. Un appuyeur, c'est Councillor Roux. All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, rapport au Conseil correspondance 6.1. Le document suivant est déposé. La liste des règlements adoptés à l'Assemblée ordinaire du Conseil d'agglomération du 25 août 2022. 6.2, Monsieur Conseiller Chamy.
Thank you, Madame Mayor. Le procès verbal de la rencontre de comité plénier de Conseil de 1er août 2022 est déposé et est maintenant disponible sur le site web de la Ville.
Merci beaucoup. 6.3 is the minutes of the Transportation Advisory Committee. Councillor Bostock.
The minutes of the Transportation Advisory Committee meetings held on June 7 and July 12, 2022 are tabled and are available on the city's website.
Thank you. 6.4 is Councillor Peart, minutes of the Commission for the Management of Sustainable Development of the Territory.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Le procès-verbal de la rencontre de la Commission pour la gestion et la mise en valeur durable du territoire tenue le 11 août 2022 est déposé.
Thank you. These are the minutes that we were referring to before. And item 6.5, le rapport de la main-d'œuvre, Conseiller Chamy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The workforce report for the month of July 2022 is now tabled.
Merci. 6.6, the payment registry, Conseiller Demico.
Merci, Madame la Maire. La liste des paiements pour le mois de juillet 2022 est déposée.
Merci beaucoup. 6.7, liste d'approbation en vertu du règlement 1507.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In accordance with bylaw 1507 on the delegation of powers to certain employees of the city of Westmount, the list of authorization of expenditures for the month of July 2022 is now tabled.
Thank you. 6.8, list of duties on transfer invoices, Councillor D'Amico.
The list of duties on transfers for the month of August 2022 is tabled.
Thank you. Item number 7, adoption of council's position on the items to be submitted to the Montreal Urban Agglomeration Council. Councillor Chamy.
Madam Mayor, I move that the mayor, or in her absence, the acting mayor, be authorized to make any decisions she deems necessary and in the best interest of the city of Westmount and its residents regarding the items on the agenda of the Montreal Urban Agglomeration Council meeting to be held on the 22nd of September, 2022.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor D'Amico. All in favor? Carried. Item number 8 is Councillor Roux, donation to estate of Trina Weinberg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas by allocating surpluses to specific projects or elements, these amounts cannot be used for purposes other than those approved by council. Whereas the firm Levy Salas LLP, manager of the estate of the late Ms. Trina Weinberg, contacted the city following her passing to make a donation to the Westmount Public Library. I move that the city of Westmount accept the donation of $50,000 from the estate of the late Ms. Trina Weinberg, subject to the condition that this amount be appropriated to the exclusive use of the Westmount Public Library. That a new appropriation account be created to set aside this amount for the exclusive use of the Westmount Public Library.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. Do you have any further comments?
I just wanted to say that this bequest means a great deal to us. The contribution not only helps us improve our offer, it also serves as an accolade to the dedicated library staff who work passionately to make our library the special place that it is. That a patron valued our institution to the point of donating so generously motivates and energizes the entire team.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Again, Councillor Roux, grant application 2022 Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II project.
Thank you again. Whereas the city of Westmount has submitted a financial assistance application to the Ministère des Affaires Municipales et de l'Habitation, MAMACH, for a grant through the Department of Canadian Heritage's Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II project. Whereas the city of Westmount wishes to enter a grant agreement for an amount of $5,000 with the Ministère des Affaires Municipales et de l'Habitation for this project, I move that the city of Westmount approve the proposed grant agreement with the Department of Canadian Heritage for the 2022 Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II project, that the city of Westmount requests the authorization from the Gouvernement of Quebec to enter into this agreement. The Donna Locke, Assistant Director of the Westmount Public Library and Community Events, be authorized to sign all documents to enter into this said grant agreement.
Thank you. A seconder on this again is Councillor Gallery. Do you have any further comments on this?
Well, it all sounded very complicated. It's just so that Donna can act on our behalf.
Okay, wonderful. In the Jubilee year. All in favor? Carried. Item number 10 group purchase with the Ville de Montréal supply and on-demand delivery of winter abrasives. Councillor Bostock.
I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $53,102.68, including tax credits for the supply and on-demand delivery of winter abrasives. That is part of the Ville de Montréal group purchase contract tender number 22-19390, the tender of Demix Agregat, division of CRH Canada Group Inc. be accepted for a total amount of $58,154.36, including tax credits, and to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1661.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments?
It's cheaper when we go in with the City of Montreal for things like this. It costs us a lot less money. And
okay, thank you. And needed for the winter. All in favor? Carried. Item number 11, request for proposals purchase of a 1000 kVA pad mounted transformer TSS for project HWSP 2206-02. Councillor Chamy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $65,490 even, including tax credits for the purchase of 1000 kVA pad-mounted transformer TSSs for project HWSP 2206-02, request for proposal number DDP 2022-030, and to award to Hitachi Energy USA, Inc. the contract for this purpose in accordance with the proposal for a maximum amount of $75,297.13, including tax credits, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the request for proposals DDP 2022-030, and finally to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file 2022-1644.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this, Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments?
Straightforward.
No. Okay. All in favor? Carried. Item number 12, demande de proposition travaux d'entretien et de réparation. Encore Councillor Chamy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $96,092.96, including tax credits for the maintenance and repair work for request for proposal number DDP 2022-037, and to award to Michel Guimont, Entrepreneur Électricien Limité, the contract for this purpose in accordance with this proposal for a maximum amount of $105,234.32, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the request for proposals DDP 2022-037. Finally, to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file 2022-1658.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this, Councillor D'Amico again. Any further comments?
No.
Carried. All in favor? Carried. Item number 13, appel d'offres public déneigement et divers stationnement. Conseiller Bostock.
I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $81,365.31, including tax credits for snow removal in various parking lots, tender number PUB 2022-039 for the period from November 1st, hopefully not, 2022 to April 15th, 2023. To award Les Excavations Super Inc. the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $89,105.63, including taxes for the period from November 1st, 2022 to April 15, 2023, with two options of renewal, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tenders PUB 2022-039, and to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file 2022-1663.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this, Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments on this?
No.
Snow removal in different lots. All in favor? Carried. Again, another snow removal, item number 14, call for public tenders, snow clearing in lanes. Councillor Bostock.
I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $392,346.63, including tax credits for the snow clearing in lanes, tender number PUB 2022-040 for the period from November 1st, 2022 to April 15, 2023, to award Les Excavations Super Inc. the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a maximum amount of $429,670.72, including taxes for the period from November 1st, 2022 to April 15, 2023, with two options of renewal, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the call for tenders PUB 2022-040, and to allocate the expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1664.
Thank you. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. Any further comments on it?
No, our lanes will be free of snow.
Let's hope. All in favor? Carried. Item number 15 is now appel d'offres public, annulation de l'appel d'offres public. Conseil Chamy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the only tender submitted as a result of the call for tenders bearing number PUB 2022-036 for the purchase of overhead transformers be now rejected on the basis of technical non-conformity.
Thank you. A seconder on this will be Councillor Peart. Any further comments?
It's just that when we opened the tender, it was deemed non-conforming.
All in favor? Thank you. Item number 16, termination of a contract, disposal of street sweeper residues for the city of Westmount. Councillor Bostock again.
I'll read the whereases. Whereas on March 21st, 2022, the City of Westmount awarded the contract for the disposal of street sweeper residues for the City of Westmount to Recyclage Notre Dame, Inc., resolution number 2022-03-64, whereas it is necessary to terminate the contract. I move that the contract awarded to Recyclage Notre Dame, Inc. for the disposal of street sweeper residues for the City of Westmount, tender number PUB 2022-005, be terminated.
Thank you. A seconder on this, Councillor Peart. Any further comments? No. All in favor? Carried. Item number 17, notice of motion, bylaw 1591 to further amend bylaw 1475 on nuisances and good order, leaf blowers. Notice of motion. So Councillor Bostock will read the notice of motion.
And to give notice of the intention to submit for adoption at a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1591, entitled Bylaw to further amend bylaw 1475 on nuisances and good order, leaf blowers. The object, am I reading that part? Yes. The object of this bylaw is to prohibit the use of gas-powered leaf blowers on the territory of the City of Westmount.
Thank you. Item number 18, adopting of a second draft bylaw 1588 to further amend zoning bylaw 1303, office use in zone R9-09-03. Monsieur le greffier.
Bon, je signale, Madame la mairesse, que des copies du règlement ont été remises à tous les membres du conseil et mises à la disposition du public en temps opportun. L'objet de ce règlement est de modifier la grille des usages et des types de bâtiments permis dans la zone R90903 de manière à y autoriser les usages de bureaux, ainsi que d'ajouter une disposition concernant le stationnement à la grille des spécifications physico-spatiales de la zone R90903. Je signale, Madame la mairesse, que le premier projet de règlement a fait l'objet des modifications suivantes. L'article 1 a été modifié afin d'ajouter l'annexe 1 au règlement. Les articles 2 et 3 ont été retirés. Les articles suivants ont été renumérotés en conséquence. Une copie de ces modifications est mise à la disposition du public.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que je peux avoir la déclaration de la part de chaque membre du conseil présent à la fait qu'il ou elle a lu le règlement et que la lecture en est dispensée? Councillor Peart.
I move that the second draft of bylaw number 1588, entitled Bylaw further amend zoning bylaw 1303, office use in zone R9-09-03 be adopted.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this is Councillor Chamy for the councillor for the area. Any further comments?
This is the the zone that comprises a single building, and now, which is currently zoned residential, we've added the use which permits, and it's very specific, the limitations of that addition. It adds the provision for administration and commercial or personal services as a allowable use in that property.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 19, tabling of the Planning Advisory Committee minutes. Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Madame la Mairesse. I will dispense with the whereases and just simply move that Council acknowledge and accept the minutes of the following Planning Advisory Committee meetings. Regular meeting held on August 16th of 2022. Special meeting to review minor exemption applications held on August 16th of 2022. Special meeting to review site planning and architectural integration program applications held on August 18th of 2022. Special meeting to review specific construction, alteration, or occupancy proposal for an immovable, otherwise known as a SCOPE application, held on August 18th of 2022.
Thank you very much. Councillor Gallery would like to second that. Anything you want to highlight in that list?
Well, this is just the recording of the minutes of those meetings, which is since last year around this time is a new procedure for us. So we are embarking upon, or continuing rather, upon our more transparent governance, in that we are releasing all of these minutes to the greater public for your perusal and enjoyment.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item 20 again is Councillor Peart, approval of site planning and architectural integration programs.
Merci encore, Madame la Mairesse. I move that the Municipal Council act on the opinions of the Planning Advisory Committee, the PAC, as held out in the minutes of the regular meeting held on August 16th of 2022 and of the special held on August 18th of 2022 to review site planning and architectural integration program, SPAIP, applications and adopt for each of them, the site planning and architectural integration programs, conditions for the issuance of a permit as listed in the following items. CCU 22-08-16.02, CCU 22-08-16.03, CCU 22-08-16.05, CCU 22-08-16.06, CCU 22-08-16.08, and CCU 22-08-16.35 to CCU 22-08-16.37 of the agenda of the regular PAC meeting held on August 16th of 2022. I'll get my Rubio there. CCUS 22-08-18.01, CCUS 22-08-18.05, CCUS 22-08-18.06, CCUS 22-08-18.09 to CCUS 22-08-18.13, CCUS 22-08-18.15, CCUS 22-08-18.17, CCU 22-08-18.21 to CCUS 22-08-18.23 and CCUS 22-08-18.25 of the agenda of the special PAC meeting held on August 18th of 2022.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this, Councillor Gallery. As members of the PAC, do you have any issues or any specific files you want to highlight for the public on this one?
These are mostly window and door renovations. There are no new constructions. There is one pool. And if we keep this up, these are going to be longer reading sessions.
They all in favor? Carried. Now we move to some new items that are on the agenda tonight under new business. Now I will hand it over to Councillor Roux for item 21.1. Request to the federal government to recognize the ecological value and the biodiversity of the lands belonging to the federal government, commonly known as the Gulf Dorval, including the Monarch Field. Councillor Roux.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas North Montreal International Airport. Okay, we'll start over. Whereas north of Montreal's Pierre-Elliott Trudeau International Airport is located a valuable integrated ecosystem of 215 hectares of wetlands consisting of fields, forests, and marshes owned by the Government of Canada and leased to Aéroport de Montréal, ADT, federal lands, partially located in the city of Dorval and the city of Montreal, Saint-Laurent borough. Whereas a large portion of this land is part of the Public Space Zone P in the City of Dorval zoning bylaw RCM-60A-2015, and the green space used as a golf course, which is of 95 acres in size, is also used for winter activities and other four-season public and recreational uses. Attendu que cet écosystème intégré de terre humide comprend le champ des monarques, important sur le plan écologique, utilisé par des papillons monarques pour se nourrir et se reproduire pendant les migrations vers et depuis Montréal, une ville ayant le statut de ville amie des monarques niveau or. Attendu que les champs de monarques a été gravement endommagé au cours des dernières semaines et que l'ensemble de l'écosystème de 215 hectares est lui-même menacé de fragmentation et finalement de destruction. Attendu que plus de 200 espèces d'oiseaux ont été recensées sur les terres fédérales mentionnées ci haut, ainsi qu'un grand nombre d'autres animaux qui font de ces 215 hectares un centre de biodiversité. Attendu que les villes de l'île de Montréal s'efforcent ensemble de combler le déficit d'espace naturel protégé par rapport aux autres villes canadiennes et que ce dernier grand écosystème marécageux et fluvial, composé de 215 hectares d'habitat faunique rare, est de la taille du parc du Mont-Royal. Attendu qu'en décembre 2021, le ministre de l'Environnement et du Changement climatique a été mandaté par le premier ministre du Canada afin de s'assurer que tous les Canadiens aient accès à des espaces verts et en particulier de créer au moins un nouveau parc urbain national dans chaque province et territoire avec un objectif de 15 nouveaux parcs urbains d'ici 2030. Attendu que l'ensemble des terres fédérales dont l'écosystème de 215 hectares est le dernier du genre à exister sur l'île de Montréal et c'est pourquoi elles font partie du patrimoine naturel qui mérite d'être protégé pour tous les résidents de l'île de Montréal. I move that the Government of Canada recognize the ecological and biodiversity value of lands owned by the federal government, federal lands, north of the Pierre-Éliott Trudeau International Airport, namely lots 3, 4, and 5, located in the City of Montreal's Saint-Laurent borough, as well as the lands commonly known as Golf Dorval, including the Monarch Fields located in the City of Dorval, all of which are leased to Aéroport de Montréal, ADM. That the Government of Canada, through Transport Canada, notify and require ADM to immediately cease all development on these lands. That the Government of Canada, in keeping with its stated objective of creating or contributing to the creation of an urban park in Quebec by 2030, ensure the preservation and conservation of these federal lands in perpetuity for future generations. That the Government of Canada work with the City of Dorval and the City of Montreal Saint Laurent borough to secure these lands as a legacy for future generations and as an important part of the urban park system on the island of Montreal. That this resolution be forwarded to the Federal Minister of Transport Omar Al-Gabra and the Federal Minister of Environment Stephen Guilbeault, all federal members of Parliament representing ridings on the island of Montreal, and to all elected mayors and councillors in all cities of the urban agglomeration of the island of Montreal.
Thank you very much, Councillor Roux. Seconder on this will be Councillor Shammy. I think we had commented on this in the beginning of the meeting, so I won't add any further comments, and it's certainly a very detailed motion. So all in favor? Carried. We now move to item 21.2, which is the nomination, temporary appointment of acting Director General, and it is Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that Monsieur David Lapointe, Director of Sports and Recreation Department, be appointed to the position of Acting Director General for the period of September 9th to September 23rd, 2022, in accordance with the recommendation of the Director of Human Resources Department as stipulated in decision-making file number 2022-1674.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this, Councillor Gallery, and this is because Monsieur Leroux, who is our Assistant Director General, is our Acting Director General, is on vacation for 2 weeks. So Mr. Lapointe is replacing him. So all in favor? Carried. You may enjoy your vacation now. And I believe we have one last point, item 21 under new, oh no, we have two more points. Item number 2103, nomination Assistant Director of Public Works Department. Is Councillor Bostock moving that? Yes, Councillor Bostock.
I move that Monsieur Denis Jacob be appointed to the position of Assistant Director of the Public Works Department, Grade 5, effective September 7, 2022, in accordance with the salary recommendation of the Director of the Human Resources Department, as stipulated in the decision-making file number 2022-1673, and according to the terms provided for in the working conditions and remuneration of management personnel. That this appointment be on a permanent basis once Monsieur Jacob has completed a probationary period in accordance with Section 2 of the Working Conditions and Remuneration of Management Personnel.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Shammy. Mr. Jacob has been with us for a couple months. I believe it's 3 months now. So has been in this role. So we are now appointing him officially. He can't be here with us tonight, which is too bad. But I can say I've been very impressed with the work that he has done so far with the city.
Absolutely.
At Public Works. So all in favor? Carried. And we have one more item. It's not, do we have another item on this?
2104.
2104, which is not coming up on here. Temporary appointment, Acting Assistant Director, Human Resources Department, Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that Monsieur Richard Pires, Advisor, Human Resources, be appointed to the position of Acting Assistant Director of the Human Resource Department, effective September 19th, 2022, until the return of the Assistant Director of the Human Resources Department, in accordance with the recommendation of the Director of Human Resources.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be...
I'm sorry, stipulated, I apologize. My reading is slow tonight. As stipulated in decision-making file number 2022-1675, and in accordance with the terms provided in the working conditions and remuneration of management personnel.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments on this? All in favor? Carried. And that brings us to our second question period. Are there any questions from the room? And if, yeah, so we'll start.
Good evening. You'll be thankful I'm not going to, sorry. You'll be thankful I'm not going to talk about glass. There's been a lot of talk in the media about, well, socially, the issue of need for densification of housing because of lack of accommodations for our growing population, and also to help reduce urban sprawl. A lot of cities and provinces, and especially some states globally, have kind of been actually overriding municipal bylaws and kind of forcing zoning on a lot of municipalities, forcing them to increase density. I talk specifically about, for example, where there's a single family housing permitted to allow, for example, duplexes or triplexes. I'm not talking about building skyscrapers on single family homes, but or building what they call auxiliary dwelling units, which are secondary units, you know, for example, an in-law, what they call a granny suite. My question is the city council open to this kind of measure? Is that something that's been explored, or is there something that's going to be looked into the future?
I mean, I've been following it closely as well, whereas some cities have gone so far as to ban the building of single family homes. Some cities in the US. It is certainly something that we have discussed. We haven't come, I know especially the granny flat as it's called. So multi-generational families can live together. But it is, yeah, it's something that we need to discuss, and it is important. And when it can work, when light densification can work, it's an incredible contribution in the community. And you see it in the smaller apartment buildings throughout our city. We have a lot of those where they really are part of the community, right? It's like living in a house on the street and very much part of the community, but it is something that we need to address. Do you have any anything you want to add on that, or?
I agree. Certainly something we need to address, and of course we are nearly 100% fully built here.
Yeah.
So it's not we're not solving, our challenges are not the same as a suburban area or even elsewhere in the city. But there are opportunities for some light densification. ADUs, the accelerated dwelling units for sure. But those are best used where there are lanes, for instance, and we have a portion of our territory, below Sherbrooke Street in some places where that could be applicable, but above Sherbrooke Street, we're much more limited to that as a solution. But for sure, I think of Grosvenor, the block that the mayor lives on. There are some 3-story apartment blocks that just you don't even notice them as you walk by as being any different from the duplexes or any of the semi-detached or detached fully attached row houses there. So it's we refer to this as the missing middle, and it should be part of our discussion as we go forward and how we see this city developing over time. And the smartest densification is when you can put more people into the same place and sharing the resources. It's economically sound, it's ecologically sound, it's socially sound. It's all of these topics we will be discussing.
And we're well served by public transit. I mean, we certainly contribute a lot in our agglomeration dollars to the public transit of the city of Montreal, but we have 2 metros, we have bus lines, we are well served by public transit. So light densification, but I mean, it's important to note too, that anytime we have moved to allow more housing, you get significant pushback from the community. So clearly there needs to be, and I think that's changing though. I think people are understanding that a little bit more, and that, if you look at 500 Claremont, I really believe that's going to be a project that'll be a benefit to our community of people actually living in that, and families living in that. It's across the street from a park, it's steps from a CEGEP and a bus line and lots of schools and metros. So we need to bring the community along with us as well, and to have those discussions and why it's important, right? It's not going to dramatically change the face of Westmount if that building has people living in it as opposed to it being abandoned, essentially. So it's I think we have some work in engaging citizens on that though, to bring them along, because every project gets met with mega resistance when it's brought forward here. But I think it's the right thing to do.
All right, thank you.
Does anyone else want to comment on that? The missing middle? No? Thank you for your question. Anyone else? Any questions online?
No questions online.
All right, the meeting is adjourned. We will be back, I believe it's the 19th of September. 18th, 19th of September, I believe.
19th.
Okay, thank you.